So, all this wouldn't be possible, without what the Women's Auxiliary has done and our committee from the HBI, and I want to thank them all for pulling this off, particularly Stacy. But really, the survival of the HBI has been based on the pension club going back 22 or 3 years, and we have a real activist as the head of our club now, and I'd like him to say a couple words to kick this off, and then we'll get into a few other things. Greg Mitre.
Thank you, Dave. I'll introduce myself, but I think I know just about every person in this room, and it's a pleasure and an honor to know all of you. My name is Greg Mitre. I'm the president of the ILWU Southern California Pensioners and the ILWU Pacific Coast Pensioners, which encompasses all of the pension clubs up and down the West Coast, Canada, Alaska, and now Panama. It's an honor to be here today, especially today in this room here. Dave and I go way, way back. I think my title was the official captain of the HBI first cruises that we had in the harbor back in the 1980s. And it's just a real honor and a pleasure to see how far the HBI has come, and especially getting them here in this home here. This is where the HBI truly belongs. And because of the ILWU and the pensioners, and especially the Memorial Association that actually controls this building, for those of you that don't know, this is the only really true building, brick and mortar building, the ILWU owns and has owned and has a dedicated interest. And the people who own this building are the members of the ILWU. Everybody who came into this union, they bought a brick. When you got in, you bought a brick and you owned a piece of this building, and this is our sanctuary. The employer, the PMA, all of the member companies have absolutely no say in what goes on in here, and this is our house, and we treat it that way, and we're going to treat it that way forever. To Dave, though, and the staff, and everybody who's on the board of the HBI, longtime supporters that you guys have been, phenomenal job that you've done. I think your work has just started. There's going to be some really interesting times ahead. Everybody in this room, I think, realizes that the next 4 years could be some of the most interesting times politically we have ever seen in our lifetime. And you're going to see a lot of shakeup. You're going to see a lot of things change. You're going to see a lot of interested parties, a lot of people moving in a certain direction. You see I'm wearing, I'll turn, no offense, but you know where my loyalties lie when it comes to political parties. And the next 4 years, I think, are going to be extremely tumultuous, extremely interesting. If he lasts 4 years, it's going to be a wild ride, put it that way. But the HBI, I think, is poised to do some really, really great things. This area in Wilmington is poised to do some great things. It's going to change dramatically down here, and I hope the HBI is going to be front and center in helping us accomplish that. So thank you all for coming here today, and Dave, thank you for all that you've done. Thank you.
I'd like to start off by just giving a little background of why we're here in this building and where we intend to go. And when we started in San Pedro and in San Francisco and a few other areas back in 1993, 1994. We were officially supported by the ILWU International Union at the convention in 1994, and that's really what gave us our credentials to move forward. We were lucky to be able to move into Local 63's building on 5th Street, and we had, I think, 3,500 square feet, and they gave it to us for almost free for 10 years. They approached us and said, hey, look, we need to rebuild this building, we need money, and I think they rent out that same rent space now for $3,500 a month or something like that. So there, it was something necessary. We thanked the local. We were in San Pedro for a short time in a small building, and then this opened up to us, and this is really where we belong. Moving into the Wilmington area, our focus is going to be on 2 or 3 things. And I'm going to ask a few of the people that have been very successful here in Wilmington, particularly in the educational arena, to get up and talk, because we're not trying to recreate something. We're trying to support something. We're trying to support the things that are already going on here, and what we would like to add to it is the history of the labor movement in this area, the real history. Not made up facts, but the real history. And that's going to be our role. So we're going to concentrate on some of the educational stuff. We've talked to Lou Marisich. Well, I've talked to Mike Lansing and Amy Grant, who's here. All of them represent success. All of them represent what we all should be about, is helping the next generation come along and having an opportunity. And these three individuals, when you study the programs that they've done, and I've watched them for years, have done an incredible job. So we don't need to recreate the wheel here in Wilmington. We just need to support it and add to it and try to bring this building, the Memorial Association, and the ILWU into a more active role in supporting these programs that have been very successful. We also, and Diane will talk more about this, realize that one of the big issues in Wilmington is the air. And how do you clean up the air and where the focus should be. So clearly these are going to be two of our programs, but some of the dynamics of what's going to happen in this area, being that I'm also a port commissioner, is $65 million I've been committed to Banning Landing project, which is going to come all the way across the C Street to the park. The Port of Los Angeles owns 70 to 80% of the land in this area. And the good thing about it is it's not under the Tideland Trust, which means you can sell the land, you can promote it in a different way. What we're looking to do is work with the port on talking about the generation, the next generation that's not going to college. We see welding, we see electrical work, we see mechanical work, we see a whole lot of other type of computer work and other things that kids can do and make a good living at if we put all the pieces together and we put, and that's what we intend to do. We intend to help make that happen. So these are the things that, are the dynamics of where the HBI is going in this area. You can see our office over here. We're going to be open every Friday to the public, and then during the week periodically based on different programs that are going on. Before we leave here, one of the other most important organizations in Wilmington and now in San Pedro is the ILWU Credit Union, and we have a couple representatives here. The way we have survived is our members, or anybody who's been part of the credit union, makes a contribution to the credit union, to the Harry Bridges Institute every month. And with that, we raised, a certain amount of money. A lot of our other money comes from the Cesar Chavez event and the women's event. And let me just tell you that the Cesar Chavez event came about as a result of what Harry always used to talk about. And what Harry always used to talk about was the rank and file. And the people we honor are the rank and file. That's who we honor. And you know what they say, whether it's a women's event or the Cesar Chavez event, people that get honored say, nobody's ever honored me before. Because that's not the way our society's set up. It's the people on top, the people that are privileged, the people that got money. Those are the people that are honored, not the people who built this country, not the glue that holds America together. So we're heading into a period of time, and the last thing I want to say is we made a decision at our last board meeting based on the participation on the Bernie Sanders campaign in the harbor area and the success that it had. The Bernie carried most of San Pedro, Wilmington, Harbor City, and other areas as a result of that campaign. And we said as the HBI that we can't sit back any longer and just do these little things. We have to begin to become more political. As a nonprofit, we can't get involved in campaigns for office, but we can educate people around, Medicare. We can educate people around war. We can educate people around environmental issues. We can educate the people around these political issues that are being distracted, by our new president. So, I believe that we're in a period of history where this president is going to create a new movement, and he already has. Last week, I was honored with my family to be at the women's demonstration, over 700,000 people. On Saturday, we had the event for in San Pedro where we honored Joe Hill, and we had about 250 people. Went to the airport yesterday. The place was packed. because this country has never excluded people based on their religious or their beliefs. And now we're doing that. Well, these aren't acceptable to the American people, and these aren't acceptable to us. So you can see the Harry Bridges Institute is going to play an active role on these issues. With that, I'd like to bring up Diane Middleton, who is our Secretary Treasurer, and the one that keeps the thumb on all of us. Okay. You got it.
Okay.